It was good, Yo Fusion here, back with another video. This is sort of like I don't want to say a part two, but like sort of another one of these videos, just like what I posted a few days ago. What makes a classic? What makes somebody a GOAT? What makes a player a GOAT? For those of you who doesn't know what GOAT means, it's greatest of all time. I am using this article I found on Viking Magazine. It's an old one from 2020, but while I was doing some research and while I was trying to formulate my thoughts, I found this, and I think this is a great breakdown of what makes a GOAT and who would be considered GOATs and all that type of stuff. I'm gonna speak a lot from the basketball perspective because I don't know. That's the most that I feel comfortable knowing. I don't really watch the NFL like that, but these still are. They can still be one-on-one comparisons with football, basketball, hip hop, swimming, fucking tennis, all that shit. So when it comes to being the GOAT, it means greatest of all time. I don't know why that was hard to say. So let's just go ahead and read this just real quick. Is a term that we constantly hear in all aspects of society. No place is this term more widely used than in the world of sports, where fans spend days, months, and even years discussing who is the greatest of all time. The ongoing conversation regarding the GOATs of sports beg the question: what makes a player the GOAT? People argue their favorite athletes are the greatest, but on what grounds do they say that and to make their claim? Blah, blah, blah. Let's go ahead and talk about a few things here. Let's just go through this just real quick. Team accomplishments. You got to win championships. You got to win Super Bowls. You have to win for you to be considered a GOAT. Now, when it comes to team accomplishments, that is where you gotta. That's the shakiness of GOAT conversations because it's a team sport that you're playing in. Can you carry a team? Can you do this? Can you do that? I'm gonna say this, and I don't think a lot of people will agree with me on it, but for you to be considered a GOAT, you have to carry your team to a championship and you have to win a championship. For basketball, you gotta win more than one championship to be in the GOAT conversation. Of course, you need the stats. Of course, you need all of the other things. But for you to be in the conversation of greatest of all time, you have to have at least 2 championships. That's how you know that you win. If you have MVPs, we're gonna get to like the personal accomplishments, but I used to play Call of Duty all the time. All the time I used to play Call of Duty. I was a Modern Warfare 2 beast. I was like the best, but I nuked with every single assault rifle. I was very proud of that when I was younger. You can ask Vegas or Witty. They played all the games with me where I nuked with every single assault rifle. So I know there were times where I had shitty teammates. I knew I had to be good enough to carry my shitty teammates if I was going to win this shit. Of course, Call of Duty and sports are different, but I think the mindset was in the right place. Have you ever played, pick up basketball with your friends and your friends are ass at basketball, but you want to still play with them because like they're your friends and you still want to win? You're still going to find a way to try to fucking win the game. I really didn't play intramurals in like college. I mean, I was definitely going through some stuff in college. I'm gonna be frank with you guys, but there was a day where the intramural gym was shut down, so we all played on the the blacktop courts. That's where I would usually play. I mean, you are hard pressed to find pickup games while on the court, actually in the gym. So there would also be mad people playing outside. So that's what me and my friends would do. None of my friends were truly basketball players in college. Of course, like, they could hold their own, but I was probably like the best one on my team, and I was never the greatest basketball player as it was, but you know, like, it is what it is. I was just trying to play with my homeboys. I was just trying to have a good time. Everybody came to that court that day, and I'm talking about the hoes, I'm talking about the niggas, I'm talking about this was a very white man can't jump, everybody on the stands, Rucker Park style. Everybody was watching you play. Everybody was trying to get the best team so they could show off. Everybody was trying to win everything. I was just trying to play with my homeboys. So I was just playing with my homeboys, trying to get on the court. Niggas wasn't trying to let us get on the court, but I was going to let that happen. I'm trying to hoop. So I got on the court with my friends. And I'll let you know, we was looking like the Bad News Bears. You know, like, we walked in. I did mention Doe in my classic video, so shout out to him. But Ghost, Dre, he's also someone that I play with. He was like 5'5", little chubby kid. That's my homeboy, but that nigga was little. So I had him. Doe was a little bit more athletic. Sam, he was a football player, so he was just, unlike my roommate, he was just, we all know how basketball players play. They don't play basketball. They try to hurt you. And I think I had one more guy, Titus, and he was like a bigger dude as well. But I think I was the basketball player of the group. Now, none of y'all have ever seen me in real life, most likely. I mean, y'all can go back to my old vids. I said like my name multiple times, so you can probably find me. But I've been told that I don't look like a basketball player. I mean, which is fine, you know, like that always works out in my advantage because people tend to underestimate that. So I would sneak and get buckets just off of that. But yeah, so we just came out there and it was, everybody was trying to play with the actual basketball players. So I would have to guard mostly the best player or switch to the second best players so we could win the game. We did not win the game. I did my best to try to win the game, but the game was closer than you would think. We were going to 21. It was 21 to, I want to say 11, 12, maybe 13. It was closer than you thought. And if you really looked at us, if you really looked at what we brought out, you would expect us to get like blown the fuck out. Like, there were people getting blown out because for some reason everybody was trying to play with actual basketball players who play for the school. So of course, like, we got worked, but I mean, I held my own. I did my best to have my team be competitive. I did what I could to push us to at least compete, and people respected that about us. People started fucking with us because we hooped. We weren't the greatest. We weren't, you know, like whatever, but we found a way to at least be competitive. I say all that to say, if I was good enough, if I was a GOAT basketball player, I probably could have been able to carry my team to win those games. If Kobe, if LeBron, if Steph, if Michael Jordan, if Air Bud, nigga, like, if they was on that team, I think they would have been able to win just with them and the non-basketball players that I was playing with. So when you have people being like, I mean, it's a team accomplishment. I got drafted to so-and-so. I got drafted to here. Whatever. You got to make it work, and you got to find a way to win those championships. LeBron. He pulled that garbage ass Cavs team multiple times to finals and championship aspirations. He did, because he's considered a GOAT basketball player. AI, he brought that sorry ass like the sorry ass 76ers to the semifinals. They were maybe two wins, maybe 3 wins. I think they got 4-1, maybe 4-2. I can't fully remember, but that's GOAT behavior. You know, that team was trash, but AI brought them up. GOAT behavior. They didn't win, but it was still, you saw what could happen if someone can take over a game. Of course, you still need those other pieces. Of course, you still need all that to supplement your star, like your GOAT. But for you to be able to pull them up like he was doing, like LeBron is doing, was doing, like that one season where Russ was on a tear, GOAT behavior. So you need those championships. You need to win 2 for the NBA, I think, for you to even sniff the GOAT conversation. Of course, you know, I think that you're going to need more than that, but you also need that, like the personal accolades as well. But that's a start. So you need to win. That's the main thing. We as athletes, we as competitors, for us to be considered the greatest of all time, we need to win. So that's first and foremost. You got to be able to win. Personal accomplishments. You got Serena Williams here, who I think is one of the best athletes of all time. She stays healthy. She is a hard worker. She is doing this all in a sport that took a long time to accept her as a GOAT. So the personal accomplishments of, like, for basketball players is scoring titles, MVPs, not in this order, of course. Scoring titles, MVPs, all NBAs, defensive player, you know, those accolades where you earn them, the finals MVPs. That's why there's so much conversation and shakiness with the Kobe and the Shaq stuff because of the finals MVPs, the MVPs. I think a lot of Steph Curry fans are really, really happy that he did get that finals MVP, because there would have been some interesting conversations. So yeah, like, you need those. You need to make all-star games for you to be considered a GOAT. You need all those. So not only do you need championships, you need to be important pieces to those championships, if not the important piece to those championships for you to be considered a GOAT. So when you have people talking about Paul George, James Harden, Chris Paul, and I'm missing 2 or 3 others who have been in GOAT conversations at some point in their NBA run, they're missing a couple. There's a couple of these. That's what's preventing them. Oops, y'all see all my stuff. Impact on their sport. I think this is one of the biggest ones here. The impact of basketball. Steph Curry changed basketball. Kobe, despite what people think, despite what people say, he changed the game by himself. Every single time you throw a fucking rolled up piece of paper or rolled up trash into a trash can, what the hell do you say? Kobe took the Michael Jordan fadeaway jumper and sort of made it his. He changed that mid-range game. He brought in a whole new phrase to sports, the Mamba mentality. They took over, the clutch shit, all that, and changed that shit to Mamba mentality. So despite what y'all are saying, despite what y'all think, that is an important piece to impact on the sport. LeBron had a different type of impact. He had a more cultural, more worldly impact, but for actually NBA, the game of basketball itself, Steph Curry, Kobe, Michael, Dr. J, like these players, they changed what basketball itself is. So you need to have that impact. You need to, for you to be considered a GOAT. Stats, of course, are important. And I think that's sort of where basketball is having a hard time with like defining a GOAT, because basketball was so different is different by every single like generation and era, that it's hard for you to quantify certain stats. For example, in the 80s and 90s, defense was different, but also the three-point shot is completely different. Not a lot of people were shooting threes. It was a big man league. It was made and supposed to be more of the big man and the two guard, and like the point guard is supposed to be passing that rock so you could, that is what basketball was then. And then you get to the 2000s, which is the hardest era I like to play, because you had to deal with the hard defense. You had to deal with the introduction to social media and the introduction to the NBA being on the worldwide stage. I think that the 90s was leading to the NBA becoming what it is now. And I think the 2000s established and sort of laid the groundwork, or continued to lay the groundwork to continue the uprise of what the NBA is. That 2000s era with Kobe, Shaq, Penny Hardaway, D-Wade, AI, early LeBron, Melo, KG, and I'm missing 8 or 9, T-Mac, Vince Carter. That 2000s basketball brought the style, the coolness of what the 80s and 90s had, and put it on the grand stage and turn that bitch up to 1000. So when you speak about stats, and when you speak about how it impacts how you are a GOAT and what makes you a GOAT, that is why we are having these hard conversations with stats, because stats are different now. That being said, when you have the LeBrons who are able to fill a stat sheet and have great stats, and then you have Steph who is going to have more points or more of a higher point total when you look at the stats with LeBron, obviously, like not all time, but in games where you can see it, it's hard to quantify, because certain teams cause for certain roles and different things. The thing about the NBA is not many players who are considered the GOAT had the same role on their team. A lot of them were scorers, but when you think of LeBron, he was a facilitator first, and I think that is his best aspect. But because of longevity stats, him being the primary option since he came in to the league, blah blah blah, his scoring numbers are almost almost inflated. Now, I don't think that is a knock on him. I don't think that's a knock on anybody, but that's just the truth. So when it comes to stats, I feel like that's an interesting one. I think that stats need to be fairly talked about when talking about younger or earlier basketball players, because it's completely different now. Longevity, Yeah, you got to be able to be in the league or be in your sport for a long time. For NBA, I think that longevity is now becoming a norm with a lot of these superstars. They are being able to play till, I don't know, 35, 36. There are some players that I feel like have a chance to play till 40, especially some of those players that aren't uber athletes or use a lot of athleticism to get their shot or to get to their point. Steph is one that I think he could last for a little bit longer. He may change into like that Ray Allen role where he can come off a bench and give you 12 to 14 a night, just off threes and just off timely shots with some screens. Of course, like we're seeing what LeBron is doing. Kobe lasted a little bit. So when you speak about longevity, you gotta have the years and you gotta have the like the dominance for you to be like considered a GOAT. So you gotta have yourself like an era as well. If you are not dominating I'm talking about being in top 5 and the MVP conversations, having your team be competitive every single year, you having crazy numbers every single year, all that is into longevity. And you need to have that sort of dominating thought process and those dominating numbers for, I want to say, 7 to 8. And now it is turning to 10 plus years of you need to be at least competitive and dominant for you to be even in these conversations with GOATs. So there's another thing there. The effect outside of their sport, again, I think that does include impact. People were talking about Muhammad Ali here and his activism with civil rights and stuff. I don't think that is... I don't know if you could add that into GOAT conversation as far as with sports, but you could lump that in with impact. I think it is important for you to have some sort of impact in what you're doing. And if you are a big name player or a big name guy or a huge famous guy, I think you should use that for good, for inspiration for a lot of people. But I don't think that is a requirement. Now, here are some thoughts. Who is the GOAT across all sports? We have Muhammad Ali, Michael Phelps, Serena Williams, Tom Brady, and Michael Jordan. I think you either got to give it to Michael, either one of the Michaels. Actually, I don't know, because you could argue these 4, and I think that Muhammad Ali should be considered a GOAT and is a GOAT, and it sucks that you got to keep him out of these conversations, but because of, I think, just like the sport of boxing itself, I think it's sort of hard to compare with the other sports because of just like the type of sport it is. So it's just sort of hard there. But with these 4, you have an argument for all of them. Tom Brady was picked up late, and then he became who he was because of the grind, because of, right place, right time, all that type of shit. So there's a conversation there. Michael Jordan transcended basketball, of course. Serena Williams, she broke barriers, went to a sport that was not, I don't know how else to say it, was not black friendly, and made that shit black friendly by force. Michael Phelps is a swim god. I mean, I don't know. There's conversations. So, I mean, I'm going to go Michael Jordan just because I'm talking about basketball this time. Let's see what. Oh, a lot of people got him. Awesome. And a lot of people hating on Serena. I don't think she gets the respect in these talks as I feel like she should. But because I'm talking basketball, I went with Michael Jordan. And I think he transcended all these people. I think when you speak of transcending their sport, I don't think there is anyone else that has done what Michael Jordan has done. With the fits, with the shoes, with the number 23. Like, anytime you see 23, you gotta think Michael Jordan. That's just what's happening. So when you have other sports fans and other people that play sports wear 23 in football, 23 in baseball, you instantly think Michael Jordan. Instantly. But that's all I have on the GOAT conversation. Who is the GOAT to you guys of all sports, and who is the GOAT of basketball? I would love to hear you guys' thoughts. And leave a comment down below. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.